So it's fair to say that I throw around the phrase deus ex machina on this channel. Doctor Who is 90% deus ex machina, and that's not even a bad thing. A story can win you over with tone alone, and if a finale has played all of the correct emotional beats, it can be a great payoff even if the logic itself is nonsense. But there are still stories over the years that I will not give a free pass to, chiefly series finales. Today I am self-isolating, and although it may border on fanfiction, like fanfiction adjacent, but I thought it could be a fun thought exercise to try and right some of the wrongs, off the top of my head, off the cuff, try and fix some of these finales with what is given to me. I may not be a writer, but I have the luxury of retrospect. The most glaring ones to me happen in the Davis and the Chibnall years. Is this my Moffat bias at play? Maybe, but I also just wouldn't know where to start with his stories. And trust me, he's done some stinkers. In terms of series finale, today I'll be covering Last of the Time Lords, Journey's End, Battle of Ranskoor Av Colonoscopy, and The Timeless Children. Okay, rules. Are there rules? I can't rewrite the entire episode. For the most part, I have to play with elements introduced in the story or make a tiny little script adjustment. That could be something quite foundational to the story, but only little details. Ideas on top of it. Number 2, these episodes do not have unlimited runtimes. The reason a lot of these issues exist in the first place is to get it in that 50-minute mark. So if I'm adding something, that means it has to replace existing scenes. And last of all, be nice, play nice. When someone's putting themselves out there creatively, even if it's just armchair script editing like this, it's a bit more personal. I love tinkering with stories, so maybe in the comments below we can even play around these stories, see what works and what doesn't, and try and find more satisfying endings. Okay, so, for example, I don't like the ending of the episode Smile. It has a literal red button resolution. From where the plot hasn't been progressing naturally, the Doctor just fixes it in a blinding flash of light. And then explains how very, very clever he is, with one of those charming, enigmatic Capaldi monologues. Okay, great stuff, but what if I just made one tiny adjustment? And in this version of the script, the realization that the emoji bots are sentient living creatures also ties into their primary function to need happy, positive emotions from people. The creatures are sentient, but completely repressed in their emotions. They and the Earth have experienced a horrible tragedy, and to fix them, they have to be shown how to cry. The frowny face is not to be feared, giving the human survivors a chance to properly grieve for their fallen planet, and then in turn teaching these new life forms the full range of emotions, the nuances that no one was there to show them. I turned it off, then on again. Yeah, it's a cute, funny line, but with 1 or 2 details changed, you could have done that very gradually throughout the episode. Use your runtime. That's how I would handle the ending, but it's a very small adjustment I made. So let's get started. Last of the Time Lords, a script rife with deus ex machinas. There are just so many rule-breaking plot benders to toy with here, and Rusty Davis still feels the need to find a random button on the Valiant that rewinds time in the style of Superman. Russell, your story has something called a paradox machine in it. What does that mean? We literally don't know. Paradox machine could do anything plot-wise, as long as it has repercussions. Something else to note, Series 3 is the only Davis finale that doesn't build off of previous ones. It may seem hackneyed, but considering they pop up again in Series 4 anyway, this is where I would use the parallel universe. The Doctor, Jack, Martha and her family can't defeat the Master, their mission is simply to escape him. Dangerously fleeing to a different parallel universe. Not Pete's world, because Rose is there, but a world identical enough where the election wasn't tampered with. The Master's takeover in Sound of Drums is so impressive, I'm almost determined to let him have it. Even though the world snaps back to normal, there are still emotional repercussions for Martha and Martha's family. That's nice, but you could keep it and make it feel like less of a cheat. It could even lead to another fun cliffhanger for the Christmas special. Oh no! Harriet Jones won the election again and she's part Cyberman! You've got complete free reign with a blank slate. The cast break the rules and jump ship to a different world, but there do need to be lasting ramifications, maybe for the entirety of Series 4. The Big Finish Charlie arc actually does something very similar. with consequences for their rule breaking appearing in every story. I like this ending because not only does it let the Master have his day and keep it, but it's also a great punishment. Trapping the Master in a ruined Earth he wrecked with no one to play with. He can now experience being the last of the Time Lords. That's his punishment. And it also means you don't have to use voodoo to bring him back, Russell! Some people take issue with the psychic network bit. I think that's fine, because it is technically set up back in Shakespeare code, the power of story. It's just a very tenuous link to make. Number 2, Journey's End. The Deus Ex Machinas start thick and fast quite early into the story. The Meta-Crisis Doctor in itself is one of these. A walking, talking Davis plot device. But there's loads of them are red herrings, from the gun the Doctor is building, from the Osterhagen key to whatever Sarah Jane Smith's packing. But the script is very dismissive towards these plot devices. Now, the only part I take issue with is the 100 words per minute Dr. Donna, where yet again all of the controls to destroy the entire army are just laying around in Davros's basement. You can't show me the Dalek Empire at the height of their strength, these master tacticians, and then have them defeated by a couple lever presses. That's the no fun nerd in me, but is there a better way to do this? I would argue yes. Time restraints and all. Again, this is a Davis story with so many moving parts. We have a Dalek who has masterminded this entire operation, who is batshit crazy and denounces the Daleks in the story. Why is Dalek Khan not tricking them all? I danced and died 1,000 times. Hey Daleks, your entire plan was masterminded by the guy who belongs in the asylum. Now he does betray them, screaming, "No more!" But honestly, Donna making the Dalek into dodgems and the Doctor committing genocide is a very busy ending, and a lot of it is extraneous. Is it not enough for Dalek Khan's plan to just be a massive backfire? Because it's these two that create the bullshit ending. Apart from that, everything is pretty neat. Me, I just say cut it. Donna can earn her agency another way. Not to mention the Donna and Meta-Crisis Doctor scenes are so flabby, and the TARDIS scenes don't even really add up to much. The Doctor is naked. There's a funny bit about that. They sound the same. There's a funny bit about that. The Doctor has to build a gun that ultimately does nothing. It's only about 2 or 3 scenes they share, but I think it might be more economic to give them something completely different to do. Pop in the Stolen Earth and you will see how the Daleks just rock up with a fully formed plan. In a normal Dalek outing with less going on, we would get that explanation, the exposition, the setup, we might even see it. So the Doctor and Donna are going to go back in time and find the foundations of this plan being made, maybe following Khan into the Time War for a quick bit of fan service, or at least witness him crashing into it. Now we are replacing 3 very short cutaway scenes, so there's not a lot of space to play with, but all you need is the scene where they meet, explain what's just happened. The next one, follow Dalek Khan's steps from emergency temporal shift, and in the third they find what's left of Khan. Khan reveals his hatred towards the Daleks and they strike a plan there and then, with Donna rejuvenating him by touch. In this scene, Meta-Crisis Doctor wants to finish Khan off whilst Donna actually comes up with the plan. This is what we're experiencing in our time. This is how you can make it happen. Donna has the agency of the episode, and it's more gripping later when Khan says, "One shall still die." And boom, yeah, now you have your lasting consequences, but it's less random. Number 3, Battle of Ranskor Av Coronavirus. I think there's a very easy solution here. Make something happen in your episode. Content. Maybe an actual battle could occur in the Battle of Ranskor Av Colon. I was throwing around a couple ideas on what to do with this. If we know that a mysterious figure has been trapping planets, and all of the armies and forces have come to confront him on this very day, and it's the one where the Doctor was led into, what if it was a trap for her? This way, Tim Shaw's reappearance and his revenge could seem somewhat intentional. What if the entire planetary arrangement was a trap to frame the Doctor for his crimes? But all that stuff is secondary. This is the finale where you need to focus on character, because that's apparently what the series arc was in Series 11. News to me as well. In this one, I'm going to just amplify what's already there and have Ryan and Graham splinter off early, both looking for hardcore revenge. Now, this doesn't have to get edgy, there's no grimdark, it's still Bradley Walsh. But they're in the midst of a giant battlefield, people are arming themselves. If they wanted to take the side where they can go after him, it's just sitting there. It was always strange to me how Ryan suddenly became the moral voice of reason. And I think it gives them the chance for an ultimate bonding exercise, some rich character growth to have them so agreed on their goal. Having one mission: kill this toothy motherfucker. So now, Battle for Anskorav Kolos has a lot of stuff going on in the background, but it's more a story of 13 and Yaz versus Graham and Ryan. Now the thing is, that dynamic is in the episode. It's technically there, but never elaborated on. Chibnall has the beginnings of ideas just sitting there in the first act, but then never picks a confident narrative direction. I've noticed it. It's why so many of his stories suggest character developments, but then never actually initiate it. So you have 13 and Yaz thrown into this chaotic adventure, fighting to prevent their plans just as much as Tim Shaw's. I also like the idea of 13 using a number of seemingly forgotten plot elements from throughout Series 11. Maybe the abandoned spiders from Arachnids in the UK just get unleashed and swarm, attacking Tim Shaw or preventing Ryan and Graham from getting to him. You could easily do the same with Bating. Maybe the pilots from Saranga are caught up in the conflict. Bubble Wrap. The Remnants. In fact, I would actually change the planet. Fuck Ranskorav, whatever. It's now the planet from the Ghost Monument. It's Desolation. Just in the attempt to try and make sense of Series 11. She didn't leave those spiders. It's fine that the story was left half finished and unsatisfyingly. I've always felt that Series 11 was kind of patchy with the resolutions. So what if they actually made use of this fact and brought them all back for the finale? Other stories have done this before. It's not as tacky as it sounds. A Good Man Goes to War. I think even Time Flight technically did this. And if you want to follow in the footsteps of anything, it better be Time Flight. And last of all, the Timeless Children. This one's a bit bigger, a bit tougher. It's more of a general problem to fix. You can't edit the Timeless Children without editing the entirety of Series 12. But I'm gonna try anyway. There are much bigger fish to fry than the brain of Morbius heads. No, for me, you fix the Timeless Children by fixing the Sasha Master. Does it bug me that no care was taken into where he comes in the timeline? A little bit, but it's not important. Does it bug me that a consistent character arc was just swept under the rug? Yes. Big yes. Whether you liked the works of Moffat, whether you liked Missy is kind of irrelevant to the sake of a good ongoing story, no? If I don't like the installment of something, I don't want to live in denial for the rest of my life that it happened. That's bad storytelling, my dude. So with one little change to the Master, I think we can save the Timeless Children. You may have even heard this idea going around already. In short, the Timeless Child is not the Doctor. The Timeless Child is him. If you keep the entire origin identical but bestow it instead to the Master, a startling amount starts to make sense. The episode almost begins to work. Well, for one, it explains his motivation as a villain. He's always yearned for immortality, but unconsciously, he knows he actually used to have it. He was wronged by his people. And for that, you have an actual good basis for the Master, for why he is the way he is. The Doctor, as a scruffy nomadic figure of goodness, doesn't need to be a somebody. Many fans don't even want the character to have a backstory at all, but that enigma isn't needed for the Master. Explorations into how this character was created are actually some of his most beloved stories. If you make him the Timeless Child, he's instantly more sympathetic, even for raising Gallifrey. If his message in Spyfall Part 2 was instead designed to sway the Doctor to his side, rather than hurt her, it can actually even continue the Missy arc. Yeah, so I burned Gallifrey, but it's a good thing, and I'm going to show you that it's a good thing. I'm going to make you see how I see, because we're friends. We are close, and we're at the stage in our relationship where we can admit that to one another. And if we really are as close as you claim, then you'll be angry right alongside me. That dynamic is one of the only good continuations of the Missy stuff I can even think of. If you have to continue the Missy stuff, this is how I would want it to be done. The Master as a wronged, unhinged ally who has justifiably done something terrible is the only natural place to take their relationship. The Master hasn't become good, per se, but he's been forced to accept a part of the Doctor's perspective. Through Missy, he had to balance himself out. And now this Master asks the same of the Doctor, flipping the script. This way, they're still opposed, but we can explore new territory with them as pseudo-friends. The Doctor can be genuinely hurt by and for him, as this revelation does change their entire shared history. It's all the best parts of Missy and all the best parts of Sim. You have an unpredictable ally who's still dangerous. A crazy, vulnerable madman, but also the genuine unpredictability and depth that you would expect of a villain who's been around for almost 50 years. They're not buddy-buddy, but the Master can still keep the audience on their toes as to what kind of archetype he even is in the series at this point. And then The Timeless Children is an episode where they more or less come to terms with it, even if you kept the same story structure. God, the split identity even ties in thematically with the lone Cyberman. It's all just sitting there, but no. Chibnall had to go for the controversial game changer, because he read it in some books in the 1990s. And yeah, that's me, I'm done, I'm dizzy. Not sick though, so that's a plus. Let me know what you think. Suggest improvements, honestly. Maybe we do this for different stories.